Hello everybody, welcome to a new session, a new recipe. Today we're going to make bread. Welcome to Cooking with Class Recipes. My name is Eric Frodo. I'm a chef. I've been a chef for 30 years, so I've been cooking a lot. With my wife, we own a cooking school in Paris for 13, 14 years now, and we also hold cooking classes in Uzès and soon to come in Seville. On this series of cooking classes that we're going to put online for you guys, we're going to use a lot of fresh vegetables. It will be fantastic for you to cook for your family. Some of them will be easy and fast and quick for quick lunch, quick dinner. Some of them will be a little bit more complicated, more sophisticated maybe, more challenging for you, but that's also the purpose, is to get to be a better cook. After you've watched the video, something you don't understand, you can always come back to it. So we're going to provide to you some recipes, some footage, a lot of things to watch on the internet. Are you interested? Do you want to cook with us? So the breads we're going to make today is going to be a bread that is healthy, is going to be tasty, it's not going to be complicated, and it's a way of making bread that you don't need like crazy, have the big arms, you know, like Schwarzenegger or something like this. You're going to have to mix it with a wooden spoon, and you put that together, but you need 2 days to make it. So you start making the bread on Monday for Tuesday and Tuesday for Wednesday. That's the way it is, but it takes 5 minutes to make. It's a very low in gluten, it's very low in glucose. So for diabetics, for people also, we make bread with low sodium, so low quantity of salt. So that's a very good bread, good, healthy, tasty. We're going to add something different, which is a lentils flour. Also, to make bread at home, it's not always easy because your oven is not always the perfect one to make bread. You know, you need a lot of heat, especially from the bottom, and regular oven at home, they don't give you that. So the first bread we're going to make is going to be in a mold like this, and it's very flavorful, it's also very healthy. You reduce the quantity of gluten by adding some lentils, maybe chickpea flour. Alright, so this is the ingredients we have. We start with flour, organic flour. To make that recipe, it's much better if you find organic flour. It's a bread flour. The outside shell of the seed has more flavor, more quality. So this is what it is. That is fresh yeast. If you don't find fresh yeast, you can use dry yeast. Water, as usual. And this is the first part. The second part will be mixed tomorrow, but we will make in 2 parts. It will make sense very soon. We have the lentil flour, the regular flour, again some water, and this is a starter. You see the quantity is really like a tablespoon, it's not a lot. If you don't have a starter at home, another starter, you can ask someone to give it to you, maybe a baker, or you can make it also in some places. You can find it, it's already dry, so you just have to add some water and wait to get that. If you have no way to get it, use yeast. So now we're going to make the first part of the bread that is going to be mixed tomorrow to the second part. You need to do that in the afternoon to make your bread the next day in the morning. That's very important. That bread needs a good amount of time to rest in your cabinet somewhere where it's kind of chill. So for the first part, you mix the water. The water needs to be at room temperature, so you get some time with the yeast. When you have diluted the yeast in the water, you add it to the flour. We are not going to use the stand-up mixer. This is a way to make bread with a wooden spoon. The French name it au bâton. Right? So we do it like this. We mix the flour and the water and the yeast You can see that you need to be sure that it's all without any lumps. You incorporate some air, and that's it for the first part. So now the second part of the bread. The first part is what we name a pouliche. It's probably coming from Poland or from Austria. You can see that it's pretty wet. That's interesting because of the flour is going to get thicker. It's not a very thick bread because we mold it, but it's going to be just the way we need it to be. The salt, I forgot about to mention the salt. The salt is going to be added to it only tomorrow. The salt has a tendency to numb the yeast. So if you really want to have a bread with a lot of bubbles, with a lot of very light, you add the salt the second day. Now the second part is just mixing all the ingredients together. So the mother starter goes in there. As you can see, the quantity is really low. You don't need much. The flour, the lentils flour, and water. What's also interesting is to try to get the water out of the faucet the day before. So all the chemicals that they had in the water has been, is gone already. So that preparation is made with lentils, lentil flour. It's green lentil, so that's why you can see that the color is slightly green. Alright, so that's it. That's it for today. You can see it took like maybe 10-15 minutes. Best thing to do is to start by having all your ingredients together. And every time you do some baking, you do some pastry, that way you should do. You have all your ingredients weighed in advance. So that way you don't make any mistakes. You relax, you just have to take them one by one and put them in the order of the recipe that we're going to supply you. When you have this, you're done for today. We're going to wrap them up with plastic film so they don't dry up. We put them in a place where it's cold, not in the fridge because you're going to numb your yeast and the starter, but a place where it's like 60, 70 Fahrenheit, between 15 and 20 Celsius overnight. 15 hours is the best. So tomorrow morning we're going to come back and film the second part. So 15 hours, between 15 and 20 hours have passed, and now you have your two mixture there. This one is what we set the powder with the yeast. So you see it's bubbly, it's perfect. The other one with the lentils is slightly less. The reason it's very heavy and the lentils has no gluten. So the yeast or the mother that we put in there is not really eating anything or producing any sugar. Now we're going to mix everything with the salt. So salt go first. And we mix. So obviously when you see that, so this is bread. So the big reason that the consistency doesn't look like bread is because there is a lot more liquid than in the regular bread. There's two advantages for that. First of all, it will give you a bread that is very moist, very light, very fluffy, and that's what also that we're looking for. The bad side or the dark side of that is that you cannot really make like a bowl of bread in your oven. You need to mold it. After mixing your ingredient very well, what you can do is put it directly in your mold. So we use a grease like this, or you can use a like vegetable oil and a brush, not a problem at all. But if you don't do, you will have a hard time getting the bread out of the mold. So you should do it. So now the mixture goes in there. You should have about a little less than half of the mold. it is really going to double in your proofing oven. So you put it in the oven, in the bottom of the cold oven, right? In the bottom of the oven, you put like a small little bowl with hot water. Not boiling, boiling usually make it too hot, but hot water. And you do that for 1 hour and 30 minutes. You will see, it will double. So, after 1 hour and 30 minutes in your oven, that's what you have. You see, it has doubled in size. That's perfect, full of gas inside, full of bubbles, so you will have a very fluffy bread. What you have to keep in mind that your oven, it has to be warm, not too hot. And if it's too cold, not so much of a problem, it will take a little longer. That was for 1 hour at 28 maximum, 28 Celsius, which is close to 80 Fahrenheit. That's the perfect time. If you have the chance to get a thermometer, you can take the temperature of your oven. That's what you're looking for. Now we're going to put it in the oven to cook between 40 to 45 minutes, maximum 50. On the highest temperature of your oven can go. 250 is usually oven from home is 250 Celsius, which is close to 500 Fahrenheit. And you do it for 40 to 45 minutes. Personally, I like to add just a little bit of flour on top. So it gives a nice touch, nice finish. And then I put it in the oven just like this. After 45 minutes, your bread is ready to be taken out of the oven. So you unmold it, it's very easy. And you let it cool down completely, that's very important. If you want to be sure that your bread is cooked, and that's a mistake we often do, is to not have the bread cooked enough. So just took it on the other side, and you need to hear that noise like a hollow. You want to be sure it looks like it is empty inside. It's pretty light, so I'm very confident that the bread is going to be fantastic. It's crunchy on the outside, and we're going to see what it looks like inside. Still, as you can see, slightly hot. You have a little side, but it's very moist. The green color comes from the lentils. Remember the green lentil flour that we had in there. If you do it with chickpea, it's more yellowish. If you do it with corn flour, it's even yellowish. There you go. Enjoy the bread.